Talk with Sarah right now from Phoenix, Arizona. KPXQ is the station. Hello, Sarah. Welcome to New Life.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
You are so welcome. What is happening in your world today?
A lot.
Did you just say honey?
No, I said let me. I'm walking outside right now.
Oh, let me. Okay.
You just haven't seen your wife lately, Steve.
No. I thought she was talking to somebody there, referring to him as honey or a child as honey. But you're right. I haven't seen my wife in a while.
And we were talking about her.
Yeah. Okay, Sarah.
Okay, so this is where I am. My husband is abusive. I have been physically separated from him since June, and we are seeing the same counselor separately. And basically, my question to you is, how do you tell the difference between authentic changing and manipulation? Because unfortunately, he's a master manipulator.
Was the abuse emotional, sexual, or physical?
Emotionally, physically, and there was some sexual coercion and different things that I didn't feel necessarily comfortable with, but
in
I
addition,
didn't really realize it was abuse until later.
Okay, in addition to going to your counselor, what is he doing?
Well, I set out boundaries for him. I want to tell you guys, first of all, thank you so much for all you guys do. I've learned a lot just by listening through you guys, speaking to other people online.
Great. But what's he doing?
He can't communicate to me, but he's in a domestic violence class.
Okay, that's good.
He's seeing a counselor individually, the same counselor I am, who's dealt with these sorts of situations since 1973, so he's the right guy.
Okay, now let me ask. Let me just take a shot in the dark here.
Okay.
What did his dad do to him?
Well, his dad beat his mom and beat him.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
But there's so many stories of people who become advocates of abuse who are abused. Peter, on the other hand, decided to become an abuser.
Well,
people who get help become advocates.
Right. Hey, Sarah, what has the specialist told you to look for?
Well, he hasn't really told me a lot of specific things.
Have you asked him?
for
I mean, it's the right question, but have you posed the question to him? How do I know when he's manipulating and when it's real change? Have you posed that question to him?
Yes, I have, and he has said, watch his actions and not his words.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm continuing to move forward with my life either way, and I have, support around me, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very scary place in knowing, okay, how do I know? Because I got fooled the first time, obviously.
Well, you know what? I would be altering the plan by you guys at least seeing a counselor, the counselor together every 2 weeks at least. Because you're wondering if he's just manipulating this. You're not even in any counseling session with him.
Correct.
So I would, if I'm in an evaluation stage, I would be wanting to at least see him in a safe environment with a counselor and listen to him and see if what I'm hearing is ringing true or it sounds like the same old stuff.
And what do I listen for? Because when he speaks, he says exactly what you want to hear.
How do you? Well, what do you? We don't know that's true because we don't know what we want to hear. So what is he saying that you're suspicious of?
Well, before in the relationship, when there was issues with experiences like this, he would say all the things I wanted to hear. I'm going to get help. I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. He would for a while, then he would.
But now that he's into it, what's he saying?
Well, now he's wanting to see me, and he's been continually telling the counselor that he would call and.
Well, I want to see you is not a sign of health. That's a sign of dependency.
See, there's a word problem here. If he's still saying I'm gonna get help versus I'm getting help. That's the only thing. You don't want to hear any gonnas. You have to say to him, gonna. No gonnas. No, here's what. If you are telling me you're going to do something for us to move closer together, that is evidence that we should not move closer together. Now, if you do something, and after you've done it for a while, you say, hey, I've been doing this, and I've learned these things, and I see this stuff, then maybe that's evidence for getting back together. But listen, his dad beat him and his mother, and now he is physically abusive. If this guy is not admitting that he has a severe problem that was passed on to him from his dad and is willing to do everything he can, then I think you've got a big problem still. I think that's
I agree.
manipulation.
Which
then.
means he has to get in touch with that brokenness.
Yeah.
And go back to some very scary places inside of him.
Hey, Sarah, I got 4 things you can look for.
Okay,
Got a pen?
I do.
1, I can tell you my issues. I, Peter, can tell you, Sarah, what my deeper issues are, what drives me to be this way.
Which would probably include some feelings about
It's
Dad.
got to be that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so far so good?
Yes.
Secondly, I own what I did to you. No excuses. I own it. I feel bad about it. I feel remorse. No kind of like you provoked me or
Yeah.
anything else. I own it.
I didn't
And
do
I'm
what I
sorry.
could have done to prevent it from ever happening.
Third, I'm on the plan, and I'm getting the help, and here's my plan. I can articulate my plan to you, my plan of healing and change. And fourth, it's okay that you don't trust me.
Mhm. So some humility.
If I heard that from somebody, I'd say I'll dip my toe in the water.
That's a very different flavor.
Very
I
different
think.
flavor.
I heard
Yeah.
it from a guy talking with his wife this weekend. He was so remorseful and so wanted things to get back together. He said, "Of course you shouldn't trust me right now. I don't expect you to trust me."
That's the right
now."
answer.
Right.
How does that make you feel to hear those 4 things? Doesn't that give you some security?
Yes, I feel a lot better rather than hearing a bunch of other excuses and I don't think I'm going to be hearing excuses.
Yeah.
What I'm afraid of is that he will say these 4 things and
Well,
it'll
he-
be the same game.
But remember
Sarah,
that plan
he's
Remember
part.
the plan.
Plan part, you got to see
You got to see
some
it.
elements of that plan.
Right,
We'll take
you've
a break
gotta
and come
see
right
it.
back. John,
know?
just run through those 4 again because I think they're really, really good and we won't add anything to them.
Well,
People ought to write this down if they're separated from somebody and say, "Look, here's what I'm looking for."
We'll do a CD and send it out to our listeners.
Okay.
On it.
Yeah.
It was if you're around a manipulative person, and how do you know if they're lying
Right.
to me or not?
Right.
Number 1, can they tell me what my issues are? What drives me to that? Number 2, do I own it that it's affected you with no excuses, and I feel really bad about that? Number 3, here's my plan. Here's my team and my plan. Here's what the steps I'm
And it's
taking.
more than talking. I mean, the plans, you got to have some really good
more than
help
I'm
going
gonna
into
do
these.
better.
meetings,
That's
and
right.
I've got homework assignments, and I got to
Right.
face
Right.
this. And number 4, you don't have to trust me until you see difference.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Really good stuff there. I want to talk with Rich